All right, for segment 2 today, we just got done creating a very, very, very long. No, it wasn't. We created a pretty interesting character for Conan 2D20, and now Heathen Dog is actually, he's going to be a little more process oriented in this one. He's going to be a little more factual and a little less rough around the edges as we do this one. He's going to create a character for us, or at least explain the process of creating a character for first edition Shadowrun. So let's go through. Of course, we believe that role-playing games should take place in fantastic worlds. The 6th fantastic world, if I get my, I remember my facts from Shadowrun.
You are correct.
That focuses on the game and having a good time. The core values of #RPGate and any good tabletop group are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural organic inclusion, not forced diversity. Charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your hopefully tax-deductible donation. And finally, that's right, we have multiple streams throughout the week. And you can join us on Thursdays and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/legionofmyth to watch Heathen Dog here, your Shadowrun aficionado. Woo-hoo. And his team of dirty casuals, we'll call them gang members, because did you ever play a gang member in Shadowrun?
No. But I commonly use gang members to patrol my neighborhood.
Yeah, I tried to play a gang member, and it was always so subpar to everything else that it wasn't fun. But you can call on friends. Yeah, game masters didn't like that. Anyway, play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. And here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or check out Friday Night Show Stream, where a panel of guests opine, comment, editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Oh, wait, this is actually kind of a step-by-step. I'll still sidetrack them, because it's what I do. And like, subscribe, and share.
Okay.
And there you go.
Hello, everyone. Today we're going to look at the process of making a Shadowrun character. First edition, second edition is very similar. Don't worry, if you can make a character in first edition, you can make character in second edition.
What about 6th?
We don't care about 6. 6 sucks. Anything beyond 2 is a waste of time. Write that down.
Okay, I'm alive.
Good. Okay, so here's some background. I'm gonna get a little bit of background here. Oh, bam, there we go. Publisher FASA Corporation, which, as we all know, doesn't exist anymore, came out in 1989, and you can buy the book on DriveThruRPG, the PDF, for $8. $8.
Nice.
AAA game. 100% $8. Now, I do recommend getting the grimoire as well if you like the game, but if you just want to try it out, $8 and you can give it a shot. Absolutely fine. So, character creation. Making your Shadowrunner. These are the things you need to think about. Race, attributes, skills, magic, gear, cyberware, and context. That's it. After that, doesn't matter. This is your character. I'm going to go through all of these step by step and how to do it in the most concise way possible. Crafty has something to say. How do you make character in Shadowrun? Step 1, close the Shadowrun book. Step 2, grab the Cyberpunk off the shelf. You need to get off of Cyberpunk. Shadowrun is objectively better because of Earth Dawn. So suck it.
That's weird. That's a weird way to say that.
There it is, but it's there. All right, so first we look at the master character table. This is the crux of your choice going forward. This is the direction your character is going, where he's been, what he's done, and how he will achieve his goals moving forward. Because you have to choose right out of the gate what's most important to you: magic, attributes, skills, tech, and your race. All right, so you want to be a metahuman? Great. You have to choose priority 4 on race, which means you can't get $1 million for cyberware. You can't get 40 skill points. You can't get 30 attribute points. And and if you want to be magical, you have to choose magic priority 3, which means you've made another choice. You've whittled down your path again. If you want magic, great. You have to have magic as the highest priority if you're human. If you're metahuman, it has to be priority number 3. You want lots of cyberware? Well, then you got to take tech really high. You want lots of money? Tech really high. You want lots of points to put into different kinds of spells? Tech's got to be high.
Okay. I want magic, metahuman, lots of tech, skills, and attributes. How do I do that?
Well, that's easy. Number 1, metahuman. If you want a metahuman, it has to be priority 4. Boom. That's done. You want to be magical? Has to be priority 3 if you're metahuman. Boom. Now you said tech was next. That's
no,
priority
I
2.
said I want them all maxed. I want all the everythings.
No. Sorry. One
Hmm.
priority for each column. That's it. So you have to make some hard choices in the beginning. You want to make a James Bond character? That means your skills are going to be high. That's a choice you got to make. After you make that choice, we move on to what is a metahuman. Here's the thing. Many games, they have different races. Shadowrun is no different. Each of these races have attribute adjustments and special abilities. Now, if you look at this racial modifier table, you will realize a couple of things. One, the bonuses far outweigh the detriments, and elves are OP. Elf is the only race that has only bonuses, no drawbacks. Why would anyone play anything but an elf? They're humans, only better. Because a metahuman must roll for an allergy. An allergy can be as simple as it's itchy while you're holding it or while you're surrounded by it, to, oh my God, it's burning my face off. So if you pick a metahuman, you must roll on the allergy reaction table. What are you allergic to? Max, go ahead and roll a 2d6.
I don't have a 2d6 next to me.
Never mind. I will roll a 2d6. 8. Sunlight. I have an allergy to sunlight. Well, how severe is the allergy? Is this Dracula time, or is this like, no, I'm just a little ginger? Let's find out. 6. Nuisance. I'm a little ginger. I burn easily. Wear some sunscreen, be fine. Eyes a little weird during the day. If I'm in direct sunlight, I got to wear sunglasses. Other than that, not a big thing. Now this, plus being an elf, super OP. Absolutely. I will take a sensitivity to light all day long as I can get a +1 to quickness, +2 to charisma, and low light vision for free with no minuses whatsoever. I'll take that all day. So again, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But if you want to just not deal with allergies, then be a human. Make the right decision. Be a human.
Yeah, this was one of the things in Shadowrun that I liked it conceptually. I didn't like it in play because either it was hand waved by the game master or was detrimental to the party.
Yeah, I mean, if you have iron, because if you look at that note, iron allergy extends to any alloy with iron in it. That usually consists of most firearms and handheld weapons. So that's tough. Tough on you. But suck it up, Buttercup. You want to be a metahuman. You rolls your dice. You literally takes your chances. Then after that, we move on to the attributes. Now, before you start putting in all these total numbers, we're going to tell you what the general attributes are. First, you have your body attribute. It's a representation of your general health and helps you resist not only physical damage, but say viruses, disease, bacteria, stuff like that, sickness. Then you have your quickness. This is general speed. This is not only hand-eye coordination, but also how fast you physically move from one place to another. They just lumped it up into one stat, quickness. Strength, lifting, carrying, and melee damage. Pretty simple. Charisma, likability, and power of presence. Power presence is important because charisma is the main stat for summoning spirits. And to do that, you have to have a very commanding presence, or they just won't want to follow you. They just won't come. Higher your charisma, the more powerful spirits you can summon because you can command them in a tone that they respect. Intelligence, your mental acuity. Now, this combined with your quickness attribute is your reaction, which we're going to get to in a minute. Willpower, mental fortitude, and determination. This is how you resist mental damage, how you resist torture, how you resist drain from magic. Remember, if you saw 2 weeks ago when I spoke about magical combat, to cast a spell, you have to force magic through your body to shape it into a spell. This is not for the faint of heart. You got to really want this. And willpower is used to resist the damage of you pushing magic through your body. Very, very important for your magic classes. Now, your special attributes are ones that are either figured characteristic from your 6 main attributes or either a 0 or a 6, like magic. If you chose magic as a priority and you got magic, then you have a magic attribute of 6. If you did not choose magic as either a 4 or a 3, depending on if you're human or not, you have a magic attribute of 0. It's binary. Okay.
Oh,
You either can use magic or you can't. If you start off can't, you cannot learn it. It's a genetic thing, like green eyes or curly hair or whatever. You have it or you don't. Essence. This always starts at 6. Essence is basically the power of your soul, how strong your soul is and its connection to your body. The more artificial stuff you put in your body, the more your essence goes down. If your essence reaches 0, the tether from your soul to your body is non-existent and you just die. Now, in later editions, there are magical processes to lock someone's soul to their body. That's a cyber zombie. That doesn't happen in 1st and 2nd edition, so we're not going to worry about that. You reach 0 essence, you die. That's it. So you can only fit so much metal in your body before you can't anymore. And then there's your reaction. This is the figure characters I'm talking about. This is how quickly you go in a combat round and how many times you can react in that combat round. And it is intelligence plus quickness divided by 2. Your mental acuity is part of your reaction time, because if you can't perceive a threat, you can't react to it. So not only is your hand-eye coordination important, but your mental acuity is also important when you're talking about how you react to things. So you take your intelligence plus quickness divided by 2 and add a d6. Now, this isn't a one-time d6. Every initiative, you add a random d6. And remember, whenever you roll a 6, these dice explode. You roll a roll again. Roll a 6, roll again. Roll a 6, roll again. Then add it up. That's your total reaction time.
and it's what, -10 or -7? What is it to get your extra actions? -7. Okay.
So, for example, you roll a 24 reaction. -7, -7. You go those 3 times at that initiative order on that number. You go then, you go then, you go then. And of course, this can be augmented by magic and cyberware later in the character creation process, depending on what character you are creating. We move on to skills. This is the skill tree. The skill tree seems like it's a hodgepodge mess. It's not. There's method behind this madness. Your skill points are determined by your chosen priority. Remember, you had to choose a priority 0 through 4 for your skills. That's how many total skill points you have. And you are not beholden to take any kind of certain skills. You can take any skills you want. Doesn't matter. Now, of course, there's recommendations. If you took magic as a high priority enough to where you are a magic user, sorcery, summoning, magical theory, these are skills you probably want as a high, number. You can choose anywhere between 1 and 6.
I just want to cast it. I don't want to know about it.
Okay. Well, then, hey, you know what? Street mages are like that. They're very low on magical theory, but really high in magical practice. So you would take sorcery highly and magical theory low. You don't think, you don't make spells. You don't sit in your basement writing on all these, parchment paper.
Yeah, I'm not a nerd.
Yeah, you're no nerd. You get out there, throw your fireballs, man. You learn by doing. Practical training. I like it. Your rating is a number of dice you will roll to perform the skill. If you have a 1 in, say, firearms, when you're shooting a firearm, you will roll 1 die. You have a 6, you'll roll 6 die to hit. Same thing with sorcery and with summoning. You will roll that certain amount of dice to be your success roll. The skill web is pretty cool. If you look on it, there's a bunch of black dots everywhere. Now, can I zoom in a little bit here? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, zoom in a little bit. I don't know if you can see it very well, but for example, if you look at physical skills, strength, that is straight up attribute. Let's say you have nothing. All right. You have no skill in what you're looking for, but you want to say, do unarmed combat. You want to punch somebody. You start your strength. Let's say your strength is 6. Every time you pass a dot, a black dot, it gets a +2 modifier to your target number. So the starting target modifier is usually 4. That's your threshold. A 4, 5, or 6 on a 6-sided die is a base success. So we move to strength. Then we want to move to unarmed combat. We are passing 2 black dots. That means if I want to use my strength as an unarmed combat skill, it will be target number 8 is a success. And that's basically it. That's what the skill web is for. If you don't have a skill, you go from your attribute to the skill, add the target number. If you have a skill that is similar, like say armed combat, but you want to use unarmed combat, you start at armed combat, move to unarmed combat, add the black dots, add +2 per black dot you pass. Now, in this case, instead of going from strength to unarmed combat, I'm going from armed combat to unarmed combat. That is only 1 black dot. So my target number for success is 6 instead of 8.
You might talk about it in a minute. If you do, I'll wait. Does this skill web here also include the skill focuses? Okay, specializations, whatever they're called?
If you are actually no.
Was that a second edition thing?
No.
Oh.
There are skill focuses, specializations, concentration, stuff like that. But I'm not getting that into the basic character creation because I don't want to get into that. That's basically it. You can start off more specialized in, say, you take firearms at 3, but you specialize in handguns. Well, with handguns, you're rolling 4 dice instead of 3, but in anything that's not a handgun, you go from 3 to 2. So your base skill is 3. That's what you'd use on the skill web. So your specialization wouldn't count. It would be your base skill. Then we move on. Character creation. We also buy spells. Now, this is based on your tech priority. Remember, you had to choose a tech priority, and you get money and spell points if you are a spellcaster. You get both of these with your tech priority choice. So let's say you got magic highest, you're human, magic high priority 4, tech priority 3. You get $400,000 or new yen, just say dollars, and 50 spell points. That means you can have 50 different spells at rank 1, or any combination of 1 to 6 different spells. Like if you want your attack spells to have more oomph, you want them 4, 5, and 6. If you want sensory spells that you don't really need to, they're not going a resisted roll against somebody. You just want successes, 1, 2, 3. Because remember, the lower the power of the spell, the easier it is to resist the drain. The drain is the pushing magic through your body. The more powerful the spell, the more force you push magic through your body, the more likely you are to damage yourself. So there is some strategery in, you want some spells that are high power, some spells that are low power. Plus, some spells that are low power, you can now get yourself more spells. So you'd be more well-rounded.
Just nuke them.
Yeah, do that too. And then we go to your gear. This is equipment you buy. And again, it's based off your tech priority, just like spell points are. So if you have a tech priority of 3, you would have $400,000 to buy gear. Now, gear and cyberware are pretty much the same thing. But remember, if you are magical, if you have a magic attribute, every single time your essence drops, your magic attribute drops as well. So you can screw yourself over. And it always rounds down.
Yep.
So you start off with an essence of 6 and a magic attribute of 6 if you decide to make a magical character. You get an internal compass. That's 0.1 essence loss. Your essence is now 5.9, but your magic attribute is 5. It rounded down to the lowest whole number.
So you may as well get that smart gun link and that neurojack.
Yeah, if you're going to get 0.1, you may as well get 0.9 or 1 if you can fit it exactly, because it's exactly the same for your magic attribute. It all goes down to 5. Now, your cyberware is body augmentation. Dermal armor gives you automatic, or not, but it gives you more body dice to resist physical damage. Muscle replacement gives you a bonus not only to strength, but also to quickness, which means it'll also increase your reaction attribute. Wired reflexes just increases your reaction attribute by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A cyber samurai is no joke because he's probably gonna go first, and you're gonna get shot in the head 3 times before you realize anything happened. And then,
I
of
don't
course,
think you're ever going to realize anything happened.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, and then of course you get the little ones like replacement eyes, replacement ears, data jacks, stuff like that, ancillary stuff, timepieces in your head. You always know what time it is. Radio receiver, stuff like that. Each device costs money and essence when it's cyberware. Gear just costs money. Guns, armor, bikes, cars, houses, stuff like that. All of that just costs money. And depending on your tech priority, that's how much money you have to spend right now. Speaking of spending money, there's also hirelings. You can buy money. You can spend money for contacts. For $5,000, you get a contact. Now, this is a professional contact. This is a talismonger who specializes in selling magical items. This is a mechanic at the shop. You're going to go to him.
Actually going to help you.
Yes, actually going to help you. Not only that, but because you spent money on him in character generation, he'll give you a 10% discount. You can have any number of contacts you want. As long as you have the money for it, at character generation, you can buy it. No problem. But you can only buy one buddy.
Oh.
A buddy is an actual friend, not a professional contact. A contact who's also your friend. You did something for him years ago, and he never forgot that. He's your buddy. You play poker once a month, whatever. You need a place to lay low for a while. Buddy's got a spare room for you. Need to borrow a car? Buddy will give you his keys. You need to hide a body? Well, he'll help you. He won't want to know, I don't want to hear about just, here's a shovel. Call a buddy. He's for you. He costs $10,000 in the character generation. He is the same archetype as you, but all of his attributes and skills are at 4, which is fine. Fine. Now remember, if he's a dwarf buddy, starts at 4, and then the racial bonuses and minuses come into play. If he's an elf buddy, well, you win because it's only bonuses. So good job for you. Then we have a gang or a tribe. Now, if you want to hire a gang or hire a tribe, this is like Crips and Bloods only for your block or your couple of blocks, whatever. And you basically put them on retainer. And you can ask them to, hey, watch my neighborhood for people, looking at my house funny, or, if you see a mailman going around the block 5 times, let me know, stuff like that. It's like your own little security system. And if you make a phone call, 2 to 6 game members will come get your back. Now, all their attributes and skills are 3. They're not great, but you got numbers. 2d6 can be 12, right? There you go. And then we have followers. I
do want to real quick. Sorry, that was one of the things I was saying before. That in the games that I played in, the game masters never wanted to deal with them because it started making numbers and dice pools and everything that was happening in the game crazy slow. I only ran Shadowrun once or twice. I didn't get into it deeply, at least as a GM, and I didn't run into the issue that much. But I mean, I guess I could see how that's an issue because if you're trying to roll for every little thing, you do.
Yeah, but the thing is, as a game master, you decide what roles are important, and if you want the entire gang to have the same initiative, have the same skill set, you can do that. They all have firearms of 3. They all roll 3 dice. They all go on initiative 7, whatever. You roll once for all of them. You can do that just to keep it easier. Followers. These are folk that owe you their life. They owe you big. You when you were younger, you saved their life or saved their mom or saved their sister or whatever, and they owe you forever. Okay. Now 1d6 plus 1 runners will come to your aid. Followers 1d6 plus 1. That's a lot of people. Use a standard archetype in the book. All of these pictures here are standard archetype. The one next to followers is the mage, the street mage, and the cyber samurai. Guess which one's which? You get one guess. You're right. They will lay down in traffic for you. They owe you their life. They will gladly give it up for you. Now the thing is, the game master can take their life from them, and then you're out followers. You can get hirelings, you can get all this stuff in game through role play, but during character generation, you have to buy them. And followers come at a substantial cost, 200 grand. Now remember, if you chose magic as first and tech as second, you only have 400 total grand. So that's half your starting money if you buy a follower. So be careful with this. This is no joke. And that's it. You made your character. Write down everything on the character sheet and you're done. You can now play. Now notice I didn't get to a lot of nuances like I spoke to with Max earlier about concentrations and specializations of skills. I didn't get into that. Okay, if you want physical and magical combat, I talked about that a couple weeks ago. So that's when I got into that. But just making your character, this is it. Your character is done. It's that easy. The hardest part is the tech priority in the beginning. After that, everything flows into place.
And real quickly, it's not going to be big, but I mean, the character sheet is pretty simple.
Yeah, character sheet is pretty basic. It's not hard.
Can't really
see it. It is
see
not hard at all. So let's look at some.
Wasn't a lot of chat. I got a couple starred here.
Some chat.
So games that have rules set up around hard choices usually end up being very fun. Kind of talk about the life path and those choices you have to make at the beginning. I agree with that. Absolutely agree. I mean, I like random games also. The one problem with random games, well, actually, there's a problem on both sides. The one problem with random games is, where you're just rolling dice, is he could roll all sixes. He could 18, 18, 18, 18, where I'm rolling 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.
Yeah.
And then one player or one character becomes less viable than another. But
you rolls your dice, you take your chances, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, well, I get that, but I mean, that could also be a detriment to a game. But at the flip side of that is, I don't like every character being cookie cutter with the exact same number of points. And so I think a life pass system or a point by, or what do they call this type of system?
Point by,
where you're stacking like, well, what priority system? I prefer those. So why do class-based games let you choose two classes, one of which is just a human in a costume? Well, I don't know if the elf is really a class, but
no, this isn't a class-based system because there are no classes, there are no levels, there's nothing like that. Yeah, there are archetypes if you want to pigeonhole yourself, but since you are not in any way forced to choose any particular skill, you can make whatever you want. I mean, you can be magically active and have no training in magic. You can. Seems dumb, but you can. You can use experience points to gain magical skills. You can. That's great.
So then I have two that are on the no, actually, let's do this one first. Cyber zombie, is that like cyber psychosis?
No, a cyber zombie is someone who is dropped to 0 essence or below, and magical rituals are used to keep their soul inside their body. And it's rough. It is a horrible existence. They're usually used as disposable shock troops because they're walking tanks, because you can load them up with all kinds of cyberware and it doesn't matter.
Are they allowed to be player characters?
No.
Okay.
But they exist. And player characters can turn into cyber zombies and then they become NPCs. It sucks.
And then two, they'd be on opposite sides of the fence. In Cyberpunk, you only have humans. Just say it. That is true.
That is true. That is true. And in Shadowrun, you are punished for being non-human, which is good.
It gives you the rope to choke yourself. Like here, dangling the carrot.
Oh, you want to be an elf? Oh yeah, you get all the chicks. It's awesome. Oh, you're allergic to plastic. Guess what's the future? Everything's plastic. Damn it.
And then Violence Solves Everything says Shadowrun is better. Cyberpunk has a single god stat in 2013, 2020 generations, and yes, still overpowered in red. See if Crafty has a comment to that. I don't know what the god stat is. I mean, I like Cyberpunk. I think both games are good. As I get older, I'm leaning more towards Cyberpunk than Shadowrun, but I think both games are good. I would play either. Shadowrun's lore is, as time goes on, gets more and more under my skin.
Well, that's why I stopped at second edition. Time didn't go on for me.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. Well, even first edition had like the Native American nations and so forth. And well, I don't mind the original history, like the original. I forget the dude's name, Injun Joe, whatever, that went up and kind of nuked.
Howling Coyote.
Yeah, him that nuked the Western seaboard.
Basically 4 or 5 mountains erupted.
Yeah. That doesn't bother me. Everything that kind of stemmed from that, though, it seemed like every supplement, every expansion made Tier Tangier more powerful, made Native American nations more powerful, made everything, everything outside, basically what was the core Shadowrun game of Seattle, more powerful.
Yeah. But in all the campaigns I played in, I made sure to take away power from the tribes as much as I could.
So Crafty says, is typical. No comment. I agree with him, but then we'd both be wrong. But I mean, I'd like to know what that god stat is. If Violence says this is what the god stat is, and Crafty says that's not true, well then that's a different thing. But right now, I'm just saying it has a god stat. Nuh-uh. But because I don't remember that in Cyberpunk. The reason why I like Cyberpunk better, and this actually is more about just a presentation than it is about what like Shadowrun's got a deficiency, is that the way netrunners work in Shadowrun, in Cyberpunk, at least in how they're infused in the action of the play, the round by round action makes more sense than what Shadowrun did. Shadowrun almost divvies the game out like you're playing 2 separate games. Riggers and Deckers over here, rest of the players over here. Yep. And Cyberpunk incorporates those better. Outside of that, it's just, do I want magic in my game? Do I not want magic in my game? Really